speak for yourself.
That was wrong.
I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley, that dude.
Yes, sir.
The suit you got on today.
I like it too.
All right, coming up, we'll tell you if the Giants really made a huge mistake keeping Eli Manning.
And if the Steelers should vote Big Ben or Mike Tomlin off the island. But we start every day with a Whitlock, so hit him, big dog.
Duke basketball sensation Zion Williamson proves there's enormous value in our country's most talented teenage basketball players attending college. Not just for 1 year, but for 3 or 4. The basketball establishment disagrees with me. The establishment appears on reestablishing the high school to NBA pipeline. Everyone hates the fraudulence of the one-and-done rule. College coaches hate the constant upheaval and the difficulty of effectively coaching young players with 1 foot out the door. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has strongly hinted that during the next collective bargaining agreement, he'll eliminate the age restriction that prevents high schoolers from entering his league. Conventional wisdom argues that Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, Moses Malone, and Tracy McGrady all proved you don't need college to become NBA superstars. I say it depends on how you define superstar. Can't bake the next Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, or Larry Bird without putting him in a college oven for 2 or 4 years. The NBA is a television show. The 3 biggest stars of the NBA television series are Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird. Magic and Larry made the NBA a hit TV show, and Michael is the most powerful, ratings-generating star the show has ever had. LeBron James doesn't remotely compare. That's why nearly 2 decades after he retired, Jordan is still the face of the NBA and its greatest brand ambassador. Air Jordan sells more sneakers than LeBron and all the others combined. Jordan's dominance is the equivalent of Joe Montana or Brett Favre still being the NFL's biggest stars, most marketable brands. The NFL uses college football to replenish, evolve, and get stronger. The NBA and college basketball, they're at war. There's zero synergy. Oklahoma Triceman Trophy winners Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray bring their college fan bases to the NFL. They're recognizable and marketable from the moment they enter their profession. The same will be true for Zion Williamson. A year ago, Zion was an oversized YouTube star, thought to be the 3rd best player in his class. After 7 months at Duke, Williams is a TV ratings phenomenon who will be a star the second he puts on an NBA uniform. Imagine if he played 2 or 3 years at Duke. Imagine if he became a college legend, the Tim Tebow of hoops. Tebow was a below-average quarterback, and people still tune their television to see him play in the NFL. Let me remind you, the NBA is a TV show. The higher the TV ratings, the more money the actor/athlete are paid. My argument isn't that Zion Williamson and other teenage hoopers should stay in college and play for free. My argument is that it makes no sense for the basketball establishment to work to eliminate the Zions of the world from college hoops. The establishment should be working on figuring out a way to pay Zion for staying in college. That would improve everything. Zion would benefit, college basketball would benefit, the NBA would benefit, so would the TV networks, the shoe companies, and sports fans. Basketball, both professional and college, is foolish for preferring the system that produced LeBron over the system that produced Michael Jordan. All right, joining the desk now, Clay Travis from Lock It In on FS1 and former #1 overall pick of the NBA draft 2000, Kenyon Martin,
Say it with
and who
respect.
has a son who's a big-time college prospect this year coming up. All right, but I'm going to start with you, Marcellus.
Yes.
Am I right?
Am I right?
Zion proves we're better off with the stars baking in college for a few years.
No, you're not right. Look, you have some evidence that, you have some outliers that can really support your argument, but in totality, you're not right. One, even by your own words, there's no system in place to pay these players. So even if your argument was correct, there's nothing that can incubate these players when their value is at where Zion Williamson's value is. But that's not where I'm going to attack. I'm going to attack here. the momentum that's necessary or that is gained from the collegiate experience that translates to the pros. I'm gonna have to debunk that. I tell you, let's start in my sport, football. Last year's MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes did not come out of Texas Tech with huge fanfare. There was questions of his game. A lot of people were saying it was a reach to pick him at Kansas City, and especially when you had a quarterback in tow with Alex Smith. And his first year, no one even talked about Patrick Mahomes. He played that last game, and then he went into the offseason. All of a sudden, you start seeing everywhere, oh, man, you should see what he does on YouTube in practice. And then he came out. First game of the year, his second year, I went to that game, and I came back here. You laughed at me. I said, we have just found our newest star. Revenues and ratings will follow one Patrick Mahomes. Already took off. Now, if you look at that, here's another example.
Where did he develop at?
Where did he develop? He developed at Texas Tech. You're talking about, you said for the TV show. This not change this argument.
No. You got to develop somewhere.
Okay.
He didn't just, he was almost a baseball player.
Yeah.
He developed in college.
Okay.
And so maybe his brand wasn't as big as the Heisman Trophy.
Oh, you going to say maybe with that?
But he developed in college.
He had no brand in comparison to what he has now.
Right.
Tom Brady had no brand in comparison to what he became in the pros, correct? And then there are guys who just said, forget college. We know LeBron, we know Kobe, guys who just said, if you show up at the pro level, you will have instantaneous success. It would happen immediately. I just gave you all the names, the biggest of the best in every sport. Who's the biggest basketball player right now in terms of ratings and revenue? LeBron. How did that go?
To Michael Jordan, and he was not. Again, he came in good, but he would have came in a lot better had he spent a couple years.
We don't know that, and impossible to compare him to a 18-year retired Michael Jordan. So for that, if there's so many examples of guys who just came in with little fanfare or no fanfare or skipped the process and that are amazing in terms of ratings and revenue, I don't understand why you got to get incubated in the collegiate level.
I think you're right on Zion because you spoke to it directly. He wouldn't have been the #1 overall pick if he had come straight from high school. He was able to develop and refine his game at Duke. But here's my problem. I believe as a fundamental level, at 18 years old, if we let a man take a gun and go walk in a jungle and get shot at, then you should allow them to make the choice of whether or not they go pro at 18.
That's not the argument. Y'all got to listen to me. I'm not arguing for these guys not to go to college and just play for free. I'm saying they should be working towards a system that pays these guys to stay in college and a significant amount of money because that's what's best for the game. And
I agree there's good advertising. Here's the challenge. What do these NBA guys all want to do? Get to their second contract as fast as they can, right? From a financial perspective, you would have to give them so much money because just purely from a financial perspective, if Zion's my son, I'm saying you got to go to the NFL, you got to go to the NBA at 19 because you want to get to the big payday, the max contracts, right? And I don't think college basketball can produce any kind of revenue that approaches what these guys can make. I mean, it worked for you to go for 4 years.
Yeah, no, it was a different time, different era. I wasn't ready to come in out of high school. I wasn't ready as a freshman. I needed those 4 years. I went from averaging 3 points as a freshman, not starting, to me being consistent National Player of the Year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's time and work and putting people they had time to critique my game, but in a good way. Nowadays, the longer you stay in school, they have times to pick holes in the game, what you can't do.
Right.
Like, so for him to stay in school, I think it'll be a disservice. For him and college basketball, because it's his best thing he has going right now is hype, right? Because he's going to put body in the seats. Ultimately, it's about, like I said, the TV show, like you said, putting bodies in the seats. It doesn't get any better right now.
Oh, it can get better.
Right now than Zion Williamson.
Better, though.
I'm saying it can't.
Statistically, here's a great stat.
Last year, arguably, if he would have came out after his senior year in high school last year, it would have been a debate whether he would have been the #1 pick or not.
Right. Debate.
DeAndre Ayton wouldn't have been solidified because of the hype that this kid has around him.
How would you handle a Greg Oden? Right? Greg Oden made the right decision. He came out after his freshman year. Now, he had to go to college. Probably would have been the #1 overall pick, right? For me, this is so much about maximizing your revenue. Greg Oden, if he comes back to Ohio State, blows up a knee sophomore, junior year, he may not even get drafted.
Like I didn't say the monologue. Because here's what I'm saying. First of all, as it relates to Zion, how much revenue has he generated for the television networks, in terms of ratings, for Duke, for everybody. A massive amount.
Yes.
And so I'm not talking about paying this dude a little bit of money. I'm talking about reflecting that value he's bringing to college basketball.
Everybody doesn't deserve, everybody is not Zion. So it's so far in between. So why not?
Because they don't.
They're on the team, but they're on the team with him though. It's not an individual sport.
That's why I started off saying there's no system
If he played an individual sport,
I didn't say there was a system.
If he played an individual sport,
figure out a system.
If he played an individual sport, I'm all with you. If he played an individual sport that generated that kind of attention and all that, I'm with you 1,000%.
You do know, like, LeBron's making more money than the last guy on the bench for the Lakers. They're in the same league.
I'm with you on that, but we're talking about a professional athlete and a college athlete.
Zion Williamson is a professional athlete. He's just not being compensated for it right now. He
ain't got no.
And he wouldn't be compensated by a CBS deal that was done years ago. They wouldn't just say, okay, you know what? Because he wasn't factored into the deal when they did it.
Show me his W-2 if people.